Busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Mental Chiropractor, the place to realign your mind. And right now we're going to evaluate, analyze, review Erika Kirk, Candace Owens, and this whole narrative. So we are going to look at Erika Kirk's stand. And I want to point out a few things. Now, remember, according to Erika Kirk, the assassination of her husband is an open and shut case. She has no doubt that Tyler Robinson is the person responsible for neutralizing her husband's life. And we're going to, now she's on the media circuit for whatever reason. You all can form your own opinion on how you think she is doing. But we're going to just view a couple of clips in this video and give some free thinker type of observation, critical thinking. And let's just dive right into it. So get ready to get cracking. Let's go.
Busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please.
Now, if you feel like it's an open and shut case, why are you sending leads to the authority? Are you soliciting for these leads, or it's just something that somebody is just telling you? So every single thing, every piece of possible evidence of some sort of direction that they are turning into TPUSA is turning this over to the authorities. And like she says, and we're doing the same. And if you just kind of look at the inflections of her voice, and also, part of reclaiming your mind is also shifting your frequency. And once you begin to shift your frequency to that is connected to the higher self, the higher realm, then you begin to have discernment, and you could begin to detect other frequencies and other energies. And so when you are able to do that, when the lens kind of falls off and you are able to see things a little bit more critically and a little bit more authentically, then you can see energies a little bit more pure in its purity. And for Erika Kirk, from the very beginning, from her memorial service, and I felt bad about it because I was like, wow, why am I not really feeling this chick? Why I'm not really feeling her eulogy of her own husband. Like, why am I not really feeling the tears? Why I'm not really feeling the fact of her declaration for forgiving, her husband's assassin. Why am I not really feeling any of this? And then the more and more everything started to unfold and you see more of her. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's why I'm not feeling it, because something was off. Something has always been off. And so you just trust your instinct, you trust your gut, you trust your intuition, no matter what other noise is going on out there, no matter how they want to manipulate the emotions. Oh, you can't say things about a grieving widow and a new single mother, two small children, and they want to manipulate the emotional spin on it. But when we keep that in check while still feeling and having condolences for her situation, but also not letting it all blend in and murky up the entire scenario of what is really going on. So, I mean, just here, just looking at her here, for me, it is very inauthentic. She is very robotic. And Yeah, it just doesn't translate well. And I think they probably should have left her out of the cameras, out of the being the forefront and thrust to the forefront of TPUSA. But let's continue. It may be a little lag, but let's see.
Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned.
I'm an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge.
Now, this is a interview with Barry Wise and Erika Kirk. And so Barry Wise is a huge supporter, proponent of Erika Kirk. But mind you, she's never even met Erika Kirk before. She has no prior relationship to Erika Kirk, but here she is in, the corner of the ring for Erika. And I just feel like it's more so anything that she can use against Candace, then she is going to be a staunch supporter of whatever that subject is. And so right now the subject is Erika Kirk. So let's look at how she spins this and feeds into the narrative of what Candace, the narrative of the motive for Candace. Let's listen.
Huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of.
And before we get to this, I just also want you to pay very close attention to Candace Owens' body language here. And I want you to juxtapose the two different energies and see what you get. Okay, let's go back to listen.
These lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Now, my dear Erika, we've heard many times it said that the eyes are the window to the soul. So this is probably why they should have kept Erika out of the limelight. There is nothing sincere in her glare. Nothing. As a matter of fact, Barry is probably a little terrified, although she would never admit it. But she's probably terrified being in such proximity to this glare that's coming out of a very insincere, inauthentic, maybe even, I won't say dangerous place, but a darker place.
I already had this business. I was already at the top of the charts. Okay, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I actually did because it's so ridiculous. Okay. But she says, I'm lying. And Erika responds, and her answer to what do you want to say to the podcaster Candace Owens, who is lying, is stop. So Erika would like me to stop lying. And I would like to honor that. Okay. I can only honor that if Erika is more explicit in terms of what I have lied about.
Atmosphere, but I am not making any direct claim that.
Okay, now we're going into, I think his name was Max Blumenthal. I cannot remember. Let me see if I can find it really quickly for you guys. But this is a person who has been following Charlie Kirk since 3 years into the creation of Turning Point USA. And so he has been following Charlie Kirk for quite some time. So he's very well versed on the journey and Charlie Kirk. So he's going to go into what was unfolding, and he's also going to be asked a question that kind of makes him uncomfortable that you can visibly see. I don't know what his name is. I think it was Matt or Max Blumenthal. Yep, that's his name, Max Blumenthal. This is a journalist who has been following Charlie Kirk since 3 years into TPUSA. Let's take a listen.
Israel assassinated him. What I'm saying is, I think they would have taken him out. The Israel lobby would have taken him out for sure, but they would have preferred, they would not need to do it physically. They could just defund him and then castigate him, as they're doing with figures like Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson, who have turned against them.
Okay, so let's pause. So is he intimating here that Israel has funded Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson? Is that his insinuation here? Is that what he is intimating here? Because I highly doubt that is the case. So when he says that, not that Israel is going to take him out in that way, but they could take him out as far as, retracting his funding and castigating him like they have done Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Now, maybe they have castigated Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, but that's no threat to their platform. And it hasn't been a threat to their platform. And so I think that Max Blumenthal is coding here. I think he's speaking in code by specifically saying that Israel doesn't have to take him out necessarily in that way, but they could take him out in other ways. Well, that, even if, because Charlie Kirk began to refuse Israel's money, and that didn't threaten to take TPUSA out. That was not a threat. So if the insinuation is Israel could have taken him out, well, if retracting the funding that they once provided, then what other way could he be taken out? And so I think that Max is speaking in code here, because it doesn't apply. What he just said does not apply to Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, because like I said before, it is not a threat to either one of those platforms. They are still very fluid and financially gainful.
But so this is just a fascinating look, and it won't be my last one, at Charlie Kirk's final days and the political pressure he was under.
How much money was he getting, number one? And number two, can you talk about Netanyahu's reaction and his, because you write about it in your piece, his interactions with Kirk?
Well, this is something that was not known to the public, and I hope to be able to report this out in greater detail. But I was told that by a friend of Kirk, someone close to Kirk, who was speaking to them in his last days, that Netanyahu actually came in and personally offered to re-up Kirk's TPUSA organization with a massive infusion of Zionist money. And his budget, at its height, was something like $80 million. I mean, we're talking about a lot of money. You can just watch the Student Action Summit that became so controversial. There's nothing like it on the left or even within the Democratic Party's associated organizations. It's very flashy. Look at Charlie Kirk's final moments. I mean, it looked almost like he was running for president. It looked like a Trump rally. And look at the he had enormous amounts of former Navy SEALs and Special Forces guys around him, like executive security. You have to have a lot of money for that. So he already had the money, but he was at risk of losing much of it. And Netanyahu comes in and says, basically, come to the dark side. Stop talking about this, and we will take care of you. I will call my cutouts, and they'll have everything handled. And Charlie Kirk refused.
Tucker on that broadcast.
Okay, if you are still here rocking out with me, thank you so much. And if you would be ever so grateful, one flicker of your finger means the whole world to my channel. Go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel and this video. So when he says that Bibi Netanyahu was basically saying, and I'm sure that he did not say it for verbatim, but come to the dark side, stop talking about this. And Charlie started to receive, as we're about to see in this next segment, we're about to see the pressure that they were applying to Charlie Kirk because they didn't want certain people to be speakers or participants in the TPUSA event. And Charlie Kirk has said, if anyone knows me, the one thing that you cannot do to me is tell me who I can and cannot have on my platform or participate in my venue, in my events, because I am going to do the exact opposite. So Charlie Kirk was definitely not someone who could be puppeteered, and that could have been to his demise. But let's hear Megyn Kelly, and then we're also going to witness a conversation between Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly themselves. And you could begin to see the stance, and and it's funny. Well, I'm gonna save this for when we get to the Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly conversation, but let's listen in.
Said the following about his backstage conversations with Charlie before he went out there.
Before that speech that I gave in July, we had a conversation about this backstage right before I went on. And I was fulminating and getting all red in the face like I often do, to my shame. And I was mad thinking about this and thinking about the effort by the neocons in the United States to draw us in to another forever war with Iran. It's not a defense of Iran, of course. It's merely an acknowledgement that we've done this before. This happened in Iraq, which we entered into at the behest of those same foreign policy strategists, and it didn't work. And so I was going on at some length backstage with Charlie, and I said, probably not going to talk about that. I'm not going to torture you. I know your donors hate this when I say that. And also Epstein was in the news, and it was clear to me that, Epstein's probably not like a Mossad agent or something, but Epstein clearly had contact with Israeli intelligence and American intelligence and French intelligence, but the only one you're not allowed to talk about is Israeli intelligence. But it seemed true to me, and I had done some work on that. I knew a bunch of people pretty close to that story, so I thought that. And I said that to Charlie, and I said, but I'm not going to say that because I don't want to make your donors mad. I know it's just going to be like an endless flurry of text telling you to stop or you're going to lose a bunch of funding. And he looked at me, I'll never forget it, and said, go all the way. Do it. Go all the way. I said, man, a lot of things I can talk about. I don't need to talk about that. And he said, do it. So I did it.
And here's the thing, Stu. I was recently going through some old pictures to find one of me and Charlie that I knew we took at that event. And not only did I find pictures of me and Charlie, but I found a video of me, Tucker, and Charlie speaking backstage right before Tucker went out. Tucker and I were talking. Charlie came over and interrupted for just a second. And you can hear him on this tape, which I've listened to many times. It's very clear on my phone, less clear here probably as we play it. But he says to Tucker, go Max. He interrupts the conversation because he has to say to Tucker something. And what was so important to him to tell Tucker was, go Max. Here it is.
Go Max. Come on. Okay.
It's quick. It just happens to be on tape. And it backs up what Tucker said. And so I just think we need to be realistic. Charlie understood what was happening to the conservative movement over Israel. He probably understood it better than any of us because he absolutely loved Israel. And yet he represented and was of young people. He was young. That was his constituency. That's where he spent all of his time. And he knew that even on the right side of the aisle, they had turned and were turning. However.
Okay. So here is where I will share what I was going to share earlier. I work in, one of my clients' restaurant is in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. And the area that we're in is a very high concentration of Jewish people. And shortly after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, maybe 4 weeks after or so, they were drawing a mural on the side of the wall of the building directly across the street from us. And it was, when it was completed, it was a picture of Charlie and some quote, some biblical quote, I believe, and with an eagle and very, how can I put it, whimsical colors. And then after the truth started to come out about how Charlie really felt and how he had began to have a change of heart with the Jewish community, the next thing I saw was his face had been covered up and another eagle was drawn over it as if the picture of Charlie had never been up. That was a very telling sign for me, because that for me was saying that we no longer support Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk was no longer our mouthpiece and our ride or die, because that was not the nature of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was in it for the truth and for justice and equality. And so when I saw that the mural had been painted over, I was like, yep, there's something to this, because the Jewish community no longer showed the love to Charlie Kirk like they did in the inception of TPUSA. So I'm going to let this. I thank you so much for watching. If you have watched this long, thank you so much. And, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you see a difference in the energies of all three women here, of Megyn Kelly, of Candace Owens, and Erika Kirk. Let me know your thoughts. And please, again, if this is your first time here, welcome. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video. And I'm going to see you in the next round.
My contention here is that some in the pro-Israel camp are so knee-jerk about calling you anti-Semitic or getting deeply offended if you say anything that doesn't align with their narrative, that it undermines their own cause. And I have to tell you, I find it very irritating because I do feel like some of us have earned the right to have some credibility on the subject of Israel and don't want to be called those names when we have some mild pushback on some of the overreaches, whether it's, whether they're winning or losing the propaganda war right now. And my contention is they've begun to lose it. And I realize it's propaganda coming at us from Hamas, but their numbers have turned here in America. They've turned, not so much with Republicans, a little bit with Republicans, but completely with the Democrat Party and with independents. They have shifted mightily from at least double digits highs to single digit lows now with when it comes to approval. And also with respect to, you and I speculated about this at the Turning Point event, whether the possibility of Jeffrey Epstein possibly being a Mossad agent or asset or affiliated with, that's been turned around on me too, to you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bullshit. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel. Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that, Megan. I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it, right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel. The spiritual energy is so amazing there. I want them to win. I've said that repeatedly.
Same.
And However, Megan, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie, you know, you're with us, you don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning
ridiculous.
biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after a turning point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this.
Israel, whether it realizes it or not, has made itself the villain of the world in letting this thing go on so long. They have lost support amongst their dearest friends. And even the entire Democrat Party here in the United States has turned against them, and they're losing Republicans by the day here in America, which is their most important ally. So whether the fight continues to be just or not is almost irrelevant. As Trump said when he was running this time last year, not yet elected, time to wrap it up. And that's how I feel, too. And I've given Israel a long berth. I fully understand, as an American who was attacked on 9/11, my country was that, you know, when you attack the United States and you kill thousands of our citizens, and Israel was in this position on 10/7, it's fine to respond, and it doesn't have to be proportionate. Whoever said it has to be proportionate. But what Israel's doing now is losing its standing with the rest of the world. It's starting to lose, too, even with its closest friends, its moral reputation, its moral high ground. And as Trump said a year ago, time to wrap it up. Cue
well said.
The 25 text messages from people I know, like friends who are pro-Israel, like, I'm so sad that you've left us. I'm so sad let's debate it. You know, many Jewish advocates saying, let me come on your show and we'll debate. There's nothing to debate. I'm on Israel's side. Just stop. Me observing
I totally agree.
that you're